You are listening to .W Talk Radio for the Underground Church in the West.
It's all going on, Pastor Tim.
You have discipled me in the art of snacking. Talk about something really important because this Sunday...
Did I leave the lights on again? My car outside?
Yeah, I think your car will be dead by this Sunday.
The Christian must live where the next event on the calendar is the return of Christ.
With our recent travels, Pastor Foley, we haven't gotten to talk much about sharing your bread.
No, but we have done a lot of sharing your bread.
Right,
and
yeah.
heard some amazing stories as we've talked to in some of the training events about people sharing their bread. So,
And we had a family share their bread with us, too, while we were
yes, we did,
there.
yes.
And open their home.
And very good bread it was, too. Yeah.
But everyone that's listening to the podcast, I think, would be slightly familiar with the idea of eating, obviously, and the idea of giving food away.
Yeah.
But how is sharing your bread different from just giving food away?
Well, and this is a key aspect of what we talk about with the .W curriculum, Pastor Tim. It's not about doing good deeds. It's about hearing the word and doing it. And Jesus said that is wisdom. He said if you hear the word, don't do it, then that's foolish. So when we read carefully in the Bible, we see that there is no command simply to give away food to poor people, which is the practice that most of us are familiar with, which is we're going to gather up a bunch of cans and we're going to take them down to the homeless shelter or whatever, or we're going to give them, do the canned food drive at school, and we say, see, we're sharing our bread. But sharing your bread biblically doesn't just mean giving away food commodities. It actually means that we are sitting together around the same table, and what we're sharing isn't just the food part of that, but the fellowship. And of course, the perfect exemplar of that is Jesus. And so when we say, how did Jesus share his bread? It wasn't through a series of canned food drives. It was that he went and ate with tax collectors and sinners. And so that discipline, that spiritual discipline of sharing your bread, means that we're going to have some interesting table companions, and we're going to be seated together around some interesting tables. Not just giving our food to them, but receiving what they can give to us as well. And we don't realize often, Pastor Tim, that that's a really key part of building fellowship relationships with people around the gospel, is that not only are we giving, but we are receiving from others.
And everyone who hears these words of mine and does not do them will be like a foolish man who built his house on the sand. The rain fell, the floods came, and the winds blew and beat against that house, and it fell, and great was the fall of it. You've been listening to .W Talk Radio, where we reflect together on how to hear and how to do the Word of God. If you'd like to submit your question to Pastor Foley and Pastor Tim, you can go ahead and email us. Submit your question to feedback@dotheword.org. For more information on the .W discipleship groups, visit dotheword.org. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll look forward to joining you again next week.
Hear the word, do the word. .W